Okay, and we are here with the interview that I had mentioned earlier, and that is on the Kenya International Theatre Festival that is already started on the 5th of this month. And I am pleased to be joined in studio by the festival director as well as the face of the festival. I will begin by introducing Mr. Benson Ngobia. Mr. Benson Ngobia, who is the Festival Director, Kenya International Theatre Festival. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Vivian.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Happy to be here again.
And then we have Mwalimu. He has given me a warning. Actually, he has given me a warning and told me that he should be introduced as Mwalimu.
Well, yes, that's true, because I've been a teacher all my life.
Yeah, Mwalimu JSK, that is Mr. John C.B. Okumu. He has been in this particular industry for the longest. He has done this for more than 50 years as an actor and also as a broadcast journalist. So we are pleased to have you on the show today. Welcome, Mwalimu. Mr. Benson, just if you can just tell us an overview of what KITFest is all about.
Okay, so the Kenya International Theatre Festival is Kenya's premier professional theatre festival, where we host professional performing troupes from everywhere around the world every year. We're in our 9th edition now. This year we have 16 countries taking part, and they have a variety of pieces ranging from puppetry, dance shows, stage plays, monologues, musicals, and all that. So we organize this festival to give Kenyan artists a chance to be able to showcase what they do, a chance for international artists to come and see what Kenya has to offer from a theatrical perspective, a chance for collaborations to thrive, a chance for networking to happen, a chance for Kenyan artists to get opportunities to also go and showcase their works outside the country, and a chance for international artists to come into the country and basically experience Kenya's rich cultural heritage, mainly through creative expression. So KITFest exists to promote the theatre industry here in the country.
Yeah, and you've been doing a great job.
Thank you.
As KITFest, you've done this for the last 9 years, because this is the 9th edition.
Yes.
That's really, really commendable.
Thank you.
Of you. Now, Mr. Jones, Mwalimu.
You can call me what you like.
That Mr. is just coming to me. All right.
Okay.
Mwalimu JSK.
Yo, JSO.
JSO, sorry. Mwalimu JSO. You are the face of KITFest. Tell me about you being the face. What does that mean?
Uso. The face is a kind of, well, I didn't create it. I think E.D. Ngobia and people, every year they have chosen somebody from the performing arts industry to be the face of the festival. Yeah. And by definition, it's an honor of sorts to be chosen. I am taking over from Marehemu, the dear departed Margareta Wagasheru, who died early in the year. And we have our faces splattered across all the publicity material, and it's a great honor. So going back to why one should be the face, I was discovered in the late 1960s to work for something called the Kenya Schools Broadcasting Division of the Voice of Kenya by a Mzungu gentleman called Robert Beaumont. And I started as child talent, reading Pip from Dickens' Great Expectations, and I've never looked back since. So I read news for the General Service of the Voice of Kenya. I have been on stage since 1973 when I was Romeo at the National Theatre. I've presented programs like The Summit and interviewed people. I've presented the Zain Africa Challenge and interviewed people. I've broadcast on a radio station here with my own. So I should be recognizable to any Kenyan over 70.
Yeah. When was the last time you were in KBC?
Oh, I was here for, gosh, well, this has been a long time, decades. I haven't come back since to do an interview such as this. And the amazing thing is that the geography of the place, not much has changed. Not much has changed. So, yes, nimerudi mashambani.
Oh, wow. Karibu, it's a pleasure to have you yet again. Now, Mr. Benson, what's the importance of having people like Mwalimu J.O. just being a part of this and also getting to be, you know, they walked before us. So having someone like him being part of the festival and being the face of it, what does that mean for you as a festival?
A festival exists so that you get to showcase, in our case, creative products to the audience, our local population, our communities, our society. When we have shows at the theater and we don't get audiences, then it doesn't make sense because we are creating for the society. So we have the face of the festival, in this specific case, Mwalimu here, so that we can appeal to all generations of audience, theater audiences. As he says, he's been around for a while. So if you have been seeing his works from the 70s, from the 80s to the 90s, to as recently as last year when he won an award acting with some kids and he was acting Fagin in Oliver, then you get audiences that resonate across all these generations, from guys who are as young as 5, 6 years old to guys who are as old as 80, 90, and they have been seeing some of their works over the years. So when we have theater legends like Mwalimu at the festival, then we open ourselves to the possibilities of bringing on board all these audience members. Most importantly, partners. There are partners who have walked this journey with maybe brands that Mwalimu has worked with, institutions that Mwalimu has worked with. When you have individuals like Mwalimu, they are institutions. They are institutions of theater because we don't document that much. So if Mwalimu sits here and decides to do a masterclass on theater, he'll take us through what has been happening in the theater industry from the 70s to the 80s to the 90s to date. So when we have him as part of the festival, even as our international guests come, they get to experience information about the theater that maybe I do not know. I came to the theater this millennium. This guy has been there since the last millennium. This guy has seen theater grow across different governments, from the Kenyatta government. Right now we are in the Kenya Kwanza government.
Vivian, you note that he's calling me a dinosaur. I hope you've noted that the kind of Kizungu.
Most of these guys come because they would like to see these dinosaurs, because these are not everyday experiences. We go to the theater, we watch brilliant shows nowadays, but do we know the story behind? Do we know the background? So we appreciate when we have theater luminaries like Mwalimu, like Margareta, and all these other great guys who come to the festival, because not only do they validate the festival, but they also let us know that what we are doing is actually not in vain. Because if they have seen this journey and they encourage us and they tell us what you guys are doing, you're on the right track, we should keep at it. This is what you should do. This is what others did before you that didn't work. This is what worked. This is what you should revisit. Then I think we work together to ensure that the theater industry grows.
Okay, I'd love to pick on that, and maybe Mwalimu, you can take us through just a bit of what you may want to share on this. What has been the difference over the years from the time you got into theater in the 70s to date, since you've been seeing that change all through these years? What would you say have been the changes?
Well, I avoid giving a lecture on the topic, but I think the major change is that it's the monetizing and the reference to the industry. These words are very newfangled. When we were much younger, we did it for the love. We did it for love. There's a lot of love going around, but very little money and passion. And the understanding was that one couldn't make a living out of it. It was an instrument for passion. But now it's two-pronged sword. People wanted to be able to pay their rent, take their kids to school, and there's this great urge for us to imagine that perhaps we're sort of satellite Hollywood. And that's the warning. We have to grow the audiences. I think the reason for somebody like me to come onto a show like this is that we have to encourage our own people to support the arts. Part of your diet should be to go and see a play. Part of your diet should be to go and see a movie. And not necessarily to be paid, you know, $30 million like Brad Pitt. It would be nice, though. It would be nice, but I think we should be wary of thinking that you can make these overnight leaps and bounds. I think we have to entertain our people first, and we have to peg our price for the entertainment to sort of rival what might be a glass of Muratina or Busa, because that's the alternative. So one glass of Muratina equals 50 bob. The theatre ticket shouldn't be 3,000 bob. I think that's a mistake we're making. I think since I've given a voice to speak, I think we should be slightly more humble and excite greater numbers.
Okay. Back then, in the 70s when you were getting started into this, was it seen as a career? Because right now, I believe someone can clearly just stand and say that, yes, this is what I do for a living, it's my career.
I'm trying to suggest not. I mean, I had ambitions. I thought, you know, gosh, I'm young, I'm pretty, I'm going to be, you know, on the... no, it wasn't. It's just a detail. When we had a company called the Phoenix Players, run by a Kenyan Englishman called James Falkland, anybody from that era, we used to rehearse for nothing, do so many shows, and for each show that we did, we were paid 100 shillings. So once you'd done 10 shows, you got an envelope with 1,100. The young actor nowadays wants to go on stage, and I believe the figure is, you know, I won't say anything on stage unless you pay me 7,000 shillings per show. So the price has gone up exponentially, but I don't think the talent has gone up exponentially. So we have to be humble and learn our craft first before we demand chums mingi.
Okay. Okay, there's something, we need to wind up, unfortunately, but there's something Mwalimu has mentioned, talking about, you know, the price of going to the theatre probably should come a bit down. Maybe who should come on board in order for you, in order for the people of the theatre to get to a point where they can just have people come in and pay just 200 bob and so on, because I believe you also need to, you know, to have your cut and, you know, make, the word is not coming to my mind right now, but you really need to be able to pay the actors, you need to be able to pay for the designing of the stages and all that. So I believe that's why that amount maybe for people to come in. So who should come on board and help with that?
As always, we'll start with government because they have a mandate to actually do or rather perform some of these duties. We have cultural agencies, cultural institutions who are supposed to promote theatre. So I tend to agree with what Mwalimu is saying about us thinking about bringing down some of the cost of watching a play or the cost of getting entertainment at the theatre, and then focusing more on getting a lot of people coming to the theatre. So I think one of the biggest audiences we have actually is the set book audiences, because they charge 100, 200 and they go all the way out there to schools and so on and so forth. So I think we have to work on our marketing strategies, bring more people to the theatre, then maybe we can lower the rates, and then maybe now we can make more money, because if we have more people going to the theatre every other week, then the artist doesn't need to charge 3K, 4K for people to come. They charge 3K, 4K because they'll only stage that once or twice a year. That is the only time they'll get that amount of money. So they have to maximize the opportunity. So maybe we need to market more, and then we get more people at the theatre, we can lower those ticket rates.
Okay, we're looking forward to that, so that we have more people coming to the theatre.
Thank you.
Now, as we wind up, maybe you can tell us for how long the show is going to be happening and where exactly for those who would want to come.
Okay, so the festival is happening at the Kenya National Theatre, just next door. We have 46 performances. We started on Tuesday. So we have a program. You can check us out on our social media pages, Kenya International Theatre Festival, Kenya Cultural Centre. We have the 16 countries I mentioned. Tickets, we have standard ticket rates for about 1,000 shillings per person. So you can buy a ticket and come to watch our shows. We run all the way until 17th. So karibuni, and we hope to get to see even you guys come to the theatre, document some of these things. That is how we get to get more people coming into the theatre space to celebrate the festival. All
right, we can obviously plan for that. Definitely. We'll come and get to cover that. Thank you so much, Mwalimu, JSO, and Mr. Benson for coming and just telling us about KIT Festival. It will be happening, it's already happening it started on the 5th and it will be going through to the 17th of this month. Make sure you just pop in and watch, at least go for a day or two, or if you're able to do the entire 2 weeks, it would be really nice. So we hoped that you'll make room for that. This is where we end this particular interview, and I am sure that Mwalimu will agree to come back some other day so that we can talk about the industry in length And you as well, Mr. Benson.
Thank you.
Don't you go too far. We have some little kids who will be coming to entertain us in a bit.